Workplace hazards. Types of hazards. Biological hazards are those that result from living organisms. Workers and managers should be aware of the more common or severe forms in our industry. These can include bat and bird droppings, blood and body fluids, or physical contact with deer, moose, or bear. Physical hazards are those that are neither biological nor chemical, but that exist because of human actions. For example, poor air quality, noise, pressurized devices, and physical activity. In some cases, naturally occurring physical hazards are aggravated by industrial operating processes and working conditions. Physical hazards can include the physical work site itself, or materials used on the job, such as overhanging trees, sharp steel, or dusty work sites. Items that are normally not considered a hazard, which can become hazardous on certain work sites, such as beards, long hair, loose or baggy clothing, and jewelry. The type of work itself. Some workplaces are always potentially dangerous. For example, working with or near electricity or high heat, or working at heights. In situations like this, a lack of training in specific procedures and precautions then becomes the hazard. Chemical hazards are non-living hazards which result from substances, including solids, liquids, or vapors, which could potentially interact. Some chemicals can damage the human body if ingested, inhaled, or absorbed. Examples of chemical hazards in our industry are benzene, carbon monoxide, and H2S, otherwise known as sour gas. Hazard recognition. Hazard identification and control is a proactive company initiative designed to create a safer work environment by having employees identify hazards and eliminate them before an injury or loss occurs. Your company may utilize a job hazard analysis, job safety analysis, or field-level risk assessment as part of its program. Essentially, all of these are formal risk assessments with slight variations. All risk assessment systems are meant to reduce accidents and incidents by using every worker's power of observation to identify and document hazards in the workplace. Because all incidents and accidents are the result of unsafe acts or conditions, the identification of such hazards is essential and the first step in managing work-related risks. To identify hazards, you will need to ask yourself a variety of questions. 1. How should we proceed? List the steps involved. 2. What materials will we be dealing with? 3. What tools and equipment will we be using? 4. Where the task will be done. Will it involve heights, confined space? 5. How will the task affect nearby people, activities, and equipment, as well as the public and the environment? Risk assessments. After determining the hazards, we need to determine potential consequences and the reactions to them. Many companies use a standard list of potential reactions like the following one: struck by, struck against, overexertion, slip, trip, fall, fire, explosion, caught in, under, between, against, exposure to extreme temperatures, leaks, exposure to contaminants. Never presuppose consequences based on past work experiences. Possible hazards may be widely different for the same job performed at different times, in different places, and under different conditions. The next step is assessing the probability of the reaction: leak, struck by, fire, etc. The risk level is determined by considering both the probability and the type of consequences. Determining the risk level is important. If the probability of the reaction is low, but the consequence is severe, this mandates more action to eliminate the hazard than if the probability of the reaction is high and the consequence is minor. Hazard control. After you have asked yourself, how could this work be done more safely? You are on the path to controlling the hazards. Controls are grouped into three categories. 1. Personal protective equipment, otherwise known as PPE controls. PPE controls are the least effective means of hazard control. PPE includes such items as fire-retardant coveralls, hard hats, steel-toed boots, high-visibility vests, respirators, and self-contained breathing apparatus, otherwise known as SCBAs. 2. Administrative controls. Administrative controls are systems or process controls that limit the interaction with the hazard. Examples of administrative controls are developing or implementing safe work procedures, limiting the amount of worker exposure, providing sufficient worker training, and providing supervision, including using a watch person for critical tasks. Engineering controls. Engineering controls, the most effective means of hazard control, actually remove or eliminate the hazard through physical means. Examples of engineering controls are the use of exhaust ventilation, substitution of a less harmful or specialized material, isolation or enclosure of a worker and process, installation of abnormal operation sensors and emergency shutdown devices, and use of barricades or restraints to prevent worker contact around or under dangerous or hazardous operations.